big congratulations on receiving this funding, over nearly £94,000 for this brilliant heritage project for the Sheffield Eagles. Tell us a bit more about where the money's going.
Yeah, so as you say, it's just short of £94,000, and that is National Lottery Heritage Fund money, which we are very grateful to the National Lottery Heritage Fund for granting to us. It'll be a 2-year project that we're going to deliver with this funding, and that's first job is to appoint a part-time project officer to lead the project, and then they're going to work on researching our archives, digitise key documents from our past, collect stories, and sort of start to gather all the materials and the resources that we need. But a big part of the project is that they're going to train volunteers to be able to help in the project, but also to ensure that the project lives on for the future. So when the money's run out, what we don't want is the heritage of the club to go back to people's bookshelves and hard drives. We want it to live on, and there'll be a legacy from the project.
And the other thing we should say as well, it's coming at the right time for the Sheffield Eagles as well, with the new stadium that's motoring along now. So it feels like the club's finally getting back to where it was many moons ago, and that is in the city of Sheffield. So, to be doing this project now feels like the right time.
Yeah, the club moving back into Sheffield and the Olympic Legacy Park Community Stadium opening is obviously a real boost for the game in the city. The Eagles Foundation has been rejuvenating itself over the last 18 months or so. We've got a development officer on the ground, we've got coaches in schools, and we've successfully launched our wheelchair and our women's teams earlier this year, with a learning disability rugby league team to come as well. So I guess the moon and stars are aligning again for the club and its foundation. But we mustn't forget that the city has a rich history of rugby league anyway. Sheffield Hawks have been around forever. Sheffield Forgers probably been around for 15 years now in various guises. And then slightly wider than Sheffield, we've got the teams in Barnsley and Rotherham and over in Doncaster as well. So the stadium is important. It's absolutely vital that the club plays in the city, but it plays its small part in the wider jigsaw of rugby league in the city region.
I was going to ask you about that because, the wheelchair rugby league side, like you touched upon, I started playing this season. So, this cataloguing of the club's history is being made all the time, isn't it? So I'm assuming you're going to be across all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a bit of a debate going on at the minute. So Sean Orton scored the first try against Rochdale in November last year when we played our first friendly. But there's a claim that as it's a friendly, it doesn't count. So Chris Haynes, who scored our try against North Wales Crusaders at the weekend, is certainly hoping he gets the title of first competitive try scorer, and possibly the only one that counts on the record. So what we will do is make sure that we capture all of that, and same for the women as well. And we know now about the importance of good record keeping and team sheets and ensuring we know who scored helps us build that archive and that database. And it's absolutely vital towards our sports aims to be more diverse and inclusive, and certainly our aims in Sheffield to be more diverse and inclusive, that we can position our men, our women and our wheelchair teams together within this project and equally celebrate them.
And touching upon those other aspects of the club, I mean, it's not just the players, is it? It's also about the supporters. And as we head towards Sheffield Eagles being back in the city and playing with a capacity crowd at your own place, I mean, this is important, isn't it? About bringing the club back together again.
Yeah, absolutely. We ran a consultation to help us get the application right with ex-players, with ex-members of staff, with supporters and sponsors, and even local stakeholders in the city, who were all very supportive of the project. But the interesting thing was that many of the fans told us just how important the club was to them. There's fans that have fallen in love together watching the game, there's families that have bonded and come together. And obviously there will be some empty seats at the stadium as well of people that we've sadly lost along the way as well. So the thing about this project is that it will engage a lot of people. It will engage everybody who wants to come and tell a story, and hopefully it will be a nice insight as to what rugby league means to people off the field just as much as it does on it.
Great stuff. And just to touch upon the history that's being catalogued, like we touched upon, it's a rich 40-year history. There's the Challenge Cup in there. There'll be the Paris match, won't there? There'll be the 1895 Cup final a few years back. So what's the next steps, and how can supporters get involved in all this?
So as I said earlier, we have actually appointed a project officer. So I'm not entirely sure when this goes out, but that may have been announced when that happens. So that person is starting with us on Monday the 4th of April, and they are very quickly going to whip up a project plan and just refine the project plan that went in with the application to the National Lottery Heritage Fund, and then get to work. So they'll be making their details available. They'll be getting out to meet the supporters group, but it's wider than just Sheffield Eagles fans. Other people have great memories of this club from other supporters, and we want to hear them as well. So our website, our social media channels will be the place to look, and we'll be communicating with people and hopefully getting them on board and hearing what they have to say, and preserving that for the generations to come.